Bitcoin drops below $87,000, but is now fighting its way back above that level. Gold is above the $5,000 mark per ounce, and silver is rising to $107. What a crazy start to the new trading week, and the carry trade seems to be boiling over. But alright, we'll take a look at all of this, and with that, welcome to a new crypto update video. Yeah, a lot has happened. First, there were new tariffs again on Canada. Now, Canada has said, nope, they're not interested in the China deal, so there won't be any tariffs either. So, once again, they're all backing down in front of Trump. I guess you could put it a bit more nicely, but whatever. Bitcoin is reacting to this for now, dropping yesterday evening below 87,000, even down to a flat 86,000, which means it has now filled the inefficiency down here. Still, I don't think that's really it yet. The uncertainties are still. Nothing has changed there. And if somehow the uncertainties were gone, gold will be dropping much more sharply. We'll take a look at all of this. But before we get started, as always, feel free to give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, feel free to join the free Telegram Talk and Signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, you're more than welcome to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade everything we discuss here, then feel free to check out my partner exchange, WEEX. At the moment, you can secure up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses. You'll find a link for that down in the video description. So yeah, Bitcoin at 87,800 US dollars. Actually, that doesn't look too bad at all, at least from a broader perspective right now. We should still be in wave A, B, and now possibly in wave C. Yesterday, we managed to stabilize a bit down here in this sell-off area. Of course, that's also because we left a CME gap. I think it was around 89,400. So it wouldn't even surprise me if today, during the course of the day, or maybe even in the morning, we somehow reach those price levels around 89,400 and then continue the sell-off from there. If we take a quick look at the funding rates, or update them here briefly, we can see that the funding rates are still very much in positive territory. That means there are significantly more longs in the market. A larger cluster is around 91,300 US dollars. Whether that will still be reached, I somewhat doubt at the moment. Let's switch to the monthly time frame and take a look at the heat map there so we get a bigger picture. And there we can see that the largest chunk, which we've been talking about for quite some time now, has almost been taken out. There's still one left at 85,800. That means we can now move upwards first. Grab the liquidity, just as we've drawn it here, and then down here into this green box. And that would basically be an option for a long position. The problem with the whole thing, as I said, is that we still have extreme volatility. Dollar drops on yen, intervention risk, gold rises. And that's exactly the problem. At the moment, we've seen intervention, Japan with the help of the US, which I really don't like at all. So what does the US really have to do with this, when actually it's Japan that wants to sell its US treasuries, but the Fed is doing things completely differently? No, the Fed is simply buying yen to strengthen the yen, which in my opinion actually inflates the carry trade even more. Or rather, it wouldn't resolve the carry trade. And that's such a big problem. And if we then see gold rising above $5,000, for me, that's not necessarily a sign that everything here is really running so well structured, or rather, that things are looking good at all. It looks bad. Not good at all. It looks terrible. And that's why I'm still more convinced by the bearish scenario. Interesting fact, the 91,300 that we just saw in the heat map would roughly match our retest of the rising wedge, by the way. Just saying, by the way. But that doesn't change the fact that I don't believe we'll see that level in the next few days. We still have the Fed interest rate decision this week. We know there won't be an interest rate decision, or rather, there won't be a rate cut, and that's likely to remain the case until June of this year. So nothing has changed in that regard either. And another interesting fact, if we take a quick look at the order book, yes, after quite a bit was bought again last night, after the markets came under pressure, now everything is being sold off again immediately. So it's not really the kind of sustainable rise that I would want to see in order for the markets to keep moving upwards. And as I said, the overall uncertainties are still there. Then there will probably be a shutdown this week as well, which will likely happen on Friday. Because the Democrats are making a bit of a fuss about the whole Minneapolis issue, rightfully so in some ways, but also not entirely. We're facing an important and tough week, I think. Also, because of the USA and Iran, the issue isn't over yet. But all right, let's move on to the altcoins. How are things looking there at the moment? And yesterday, the next sell off, as deep as we haven't seen since, well, let's say the beginning of December. That means a month and a half of gains has now led to us dropping all the way back down within just 3 or 4 days. So Ethereum is completely underwater. Solana is completely underwater. Anyone who shorted up here, hey, take at least 50% off the table. We've hit our lows again here at $117 last night. The last time we were this low was on the 18th, December, so a month ago. Reversal, a month up, liquidity pumped, and the train keeps heading downward. Even here, I wouldn't really be surprised by a reversal, just like we saw last week. Up and then just another sell off because that's what's happening in the market right now. They keep grabbing liquidity from above, reigniting hope, and then taking away that hopium again, crashing the markets even lower. But for that, we still need some kind of big event. And voila, there's one right at the door, the yen carry trade. And that could have some extreme effects this week. I'll just quickly remove the percentages here. We can already see that the market has come under significant pressure. This is the fractal from the last yen carry trade, or rather, from the last sell off. It fits pretty well. Of course, you always have to make a few adjustments. Here, but at the moment, as things stand, it fits really, really well. We need to keep an eye on it. It's definitely well in the green now. So for everyone who's in right now, please at least take profit one. 2.5% is a pretty good target to take your first profit. And now we'll just wait and see how things develop. I don't think this is the end of the line because if they intervene, it can drag on for quite a while. You've seen it in the past, sometimes for a month or even longer. And if Japan also raises interest rates somehow, then we'll have double the uncertainty because then the prices will really collapse. At the same time, the euro could benefit from this. We talked about that yesterday in the live stream. 1.20 wouldn't surprise me because, as I said, the markets need a safe haven right now. On the one hand, that's the euro, of course, and then naturally also the yen, which is now shooting up quite significantly. Here too, we're only just at the highs from December. This is just a small beginning, and the US dollar is slumping completely downward. So there's currently a rotation happening in these assets. And since we're already talking about rotation, take a look at gold. Gold has just been at an all-time high, close to $5,100. Silver at 107, peaking at 109. That's incredible. I don't expect that the worst is over and that money or capital will flow from gold and silver into, on the one hand, traditional markets, and on the other hand, also into crypto markets. I just can't imagine that at the moment because these precious metals are rising way, way too strongly, way, way too quickly for that. That means the uncertainty geopolitically, whether it's monetary issues, of course, also with the US dollar with weaker values. US dollar, strengthening yen, intervention, war here, war there, tariffs here. This week, interest rate decision. Who knows what Powell will say? As long as that continues, gold will keep rising. And then it depends. Either things escalate and then gold will fall because everyone will be looking for a safe haven again. And that will be the US dollar in cases of war. Or everything returns to normal, which I don't expect, because Trump will at least have peace from the Democrats until November, until the midterms are over. In my opinion, these are going to be some tough, tough weeks ahead this year. All right, let's move on to the traditional markets. The DAX short is still right. I'm curious to see how the US stock markets will open now, in the next few hours, or rather this afternoon. Especially the S&P 500, which, according to the fractal and last week's retest, is now overdue for a move. Whether the weak dollar will now pull people out of stocks, or whether this very weak dollar will actually keep people in stocks for now, remains to be seen. So it's starting off normally, I would say. But the volatility index has shot up for now. Keep an eye on it going forward. It can also be a good indicator for when you should actually buy. Otherwise, we have to wait until the US stock market's open. But the way things are going right now, and if we take another look at government bonds, Japan 2030, they're still at a very, very high level. US government bonds are dropping slightly. Okay, because the dollar is pretty weak. But just be careful. There's a lot coming up this week, also in terms of news. It's a decisive week. Either we found the bottom, or the bottom is just now starting to slowly but surely form. All right, that's definitely it from our side. There's really not much to say. It's still relatively quiet. If a bit more happens, I'll definitely let you know in the Telegram group. That's it from my side. I wish you a great and successful start to the new trading week. We'll talk in the Telegram group, and that's it for me. Until then, ciao ciao, and as always, stay crypto.